Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me here. I've got a very special guest, Matt. He's an absolutely phenomenal student here in our program, Six Figure Fit Pro, and he's had an absolutely phenomenal start to the program. First month in of launch with the VA, with appointment setting systems, and Matt's cash collected 19,300 US dollars. That's not revenue, that's not future income, that is cash collected first month of launch. So I've got Matt here. I want to sit him down, ask him a couple of questions about what his business was like before he joined, what made him actually start, and what was the turning point in the business. Where did the results really start to pour in? And he's got some amazing advice as well for anyone who's busy, who's got a full-time job, who's not using any systems in their fitness coaching business, and who wants to have a complete turnaround. So Matt, thank you so much for joining me here. Pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome. Walk me through things, brother. What were things like in the business before working together?
It was really stressful. I was kind of all over the place. I had some clients um, I had clients on this Google workbook, Google Sheets I send them. Communication was done through email. I eventually moved to Telegram for texting, and then my workouts were like on a different app.
Mm,
And so my check-in days would take forever. So check-in days would go Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. Um, and then the rest of the week was just me stressed trying to catch up with everything else I need to do with the business.
mm,
Get leads, make content, things like that. And
yeah.
it was just, make stories, things like that. It was just a lot on my plate,
Mm,
especially working full time, being a dad of three.
yeah. So everything was all on you. There were no systems, no automation. It was if you worked, made money. If you didn't work, things were slow. Was that kind of the cycle things were on?
Pretty much, I figured out one system with Zapier, where I get an email trigger anytime anyone fills out the discovery form. So I
Yeah.
figured that one out, and that was the only automation I
Nice.
had. Everything
Bang
else, when
on.
I tried to figure it out, just went to
Yeah.
crap. Yeah, so
Yeah.
because like I don't know some of this stuff. I even tried like go high level, and it's very high level, and went right
Yep.
over my head. I was like, nope, this is way too much for me. We're good. I'll do it
Mm,
myself. And so it was just yeah, there wasn't really anything. The system was emails, text via Telegram, and that was
yeah.
pretty much
Yeah.
it.
And so you have an audience on Instagram of about 16,000 followers. Since everything was kind of manual, it was on you, maybe you had a link in the bio. What was lead flow like back then? What was revenue at trying to convert those followers to dollars?
It was always inbound. I relied heavily on inbound leads. Which when
Mm,
you get inbound leads by making content. This content goes out to strangers. Strangers see it, comment, like, follow you, and then you hope to strike a nerve, so they DM you or comment or whatever may
mm,
have you, right? Um, and so that's how my lead flow was, and
mm,
uh, it was exactly what you're saying, right? Like I make content, I get leads, even though I had audience of 16,000 people, right? And I didn't do any um, outbound outreach for
mm,
leads. It was all inbound, and because I just didn't necessarily have the time to do it all.
mm, mm.
And if you're a mile wide and an inch deep, I mean, it's exactly what that means. Like you just kind of suck at everything.
Yeah, just
And
spread
that's kind of
thin.
how I felt. Yeah. And I just didn't feel like I was moving the needle that much because I was always kind of playing catch up because so much stuff was
Yeah,
on my plate.
yeah, got you. And with that, I know you mentioned all of your lead flow was inbound reliant. What was kind of the volume back then? Like how many calls were you sitting down on, on an average week? What was the actual lead flow like?
It all depended on the week, right? But it was like two a week, maybe zero
Mm,
to two. My MRR was like 7,500, 7,500. Um, it wasn't really going up because the lead flow was so little that by the time I got
mm,
new clients, other clients were exiting the program. right? And I didn't have a way, because I was a mile wide and an inch deep, I didn't have a way of retaining the clients past the 6 month mark, the
Right.
contract mark, right? And
Mm,
so they would go away, get new ones in, and I just kind of was stuck at that MRR for months at a time. And I was like, I don't know, what am I doing wrong here? Like,
mm, mm.
it's frustrating.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned earlier when we were discussing, it kind of felt like you trying to scale your business with everything on your plate, doing things manually, was like walking up an escalator going the opposite way,
Hmm.
right? It was like
Hmm.
as much effort as you were putting in, it was getting taken out of you with, family, with work as well, not having the time to either do the work yourself or to build a system that could do it for you. What was kind of the turning point then that made you just be like, all right, I'm fed up trying to do it manually, trying to do it all on my own. I need something that can take the work off my shoulders.
Well, the turning point was honestly, I getting over the summer, we did a family trip to Tahoe. And I was kind of a dick the whole time because I had this profound anxiety that I was not doing anything productive because everything was on my plate and there was no
Mm,
systems in place. And so I didn't want to do the activities. I didn't want to hang out. All I wanted to do was work on my business because my business was so fragile. I was afraid it was going to break if I didn't respond to anything or
mm,
do any outreach or make content
okay.
or whatever. And so I didn't know, right? I was just kind of all over the place. Like I was just an anxious mess. And I got some advice of like, don't do VAs until you reach a certain MRR. And I'm like, well, I'm never going to reach that MRR because I suck at everything right now. And I can't focus on one thing because just that's just how we work. Like we humans, we suck at multitasking. So you just need to be able to focus on one task at a hand for a set work
Mm,
block, right? But if you're spread so thin, you're kind of everywhere at once and you do everything super crappily. And
mm,
and so then I was like, I need a VA, but I didn't know where to start. And it was just kind of providence, I guess, that you reached out to me. I was like, hey, do you have VAs for appointment setting? And I clicked on your profile and you're like, I help coaching businesses get VAs and scale their business. I was like, oh, well,
cool.
this is divine. And I think I snapped back. I pressure tested you a little bit, shot one across the bow. I was like, let me guess, you want to hire me with a VA? And you're like, yes, obviously. And I was like, okay, how much? And then like, you're like, well, we'll talk about it on the call. I was like, okay, this guy's cool. All right, let's go. And it's just
Sweet.
like right time, right time.
Bang. And that was it. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know,
And
we were talking a little bit before, and you mentioned because you're already looking for a VA, someone that could do the work for you, that side of things wasn't foreign to you. I know for most people watching this, they've never heard of a VA before. They don't know what a VA does. And long story short, we hire and train VA appointment setters to message hundreds of leads per day, book your calls on autopilot, take care of business, right? It's going to save you like 8 hours a day. But that was
yeah,
already familiar territory to you, more or less. What sides of the business were you a little bit skeptical on? Because obviously we do a lot more than just VAs. It's how we get people in the door, but we build out very high ticket coaching programs for people. We help with hiring a team, the fulfillment side of things as well, ads, the whole nine. Out of our whole process, what was the kind of thing that you were on the fence about? The thing that was a little bit skeptical for you.
yeah. The when you mentioned, so I got into the program mainly for the VAs, and then when I got into the program, I was like, oh, there's a ton of value in here. Like, there's a lot of modules. This is awesome. And then your main kind of cornerstone as well, in addition to VAs, which I now know VAs is kind of like a side thing,
Mm,
but the cornerstone is your high ticket offer and
mm,
bulletproofing that offer. And one level deeper is working on your sales skills.
mm,
I had no sales skills because I remember we talked and it was you would talk about sales and scripts and stuff like that. And I never had to really sell because all my leads were inbound who were people,
mm,
inbound leads, they're ready to fucking roll and sign, right? Um, and bulletproofing that 4K offer. And then for me, when I first learned about that, I was skeptical. I was like, are people going to pay this? And you're like, yeah, man, I'm
mm,
telling you, people are going to pay this. You need to believe in yourself. You got a killer offer. Here's your avatar. Here's who you're looking for. You speak to them. Here's your pitch. Here's your board. Excuse me. I was like, okay, Corbin, I'm going to trust you. What do I have to lose, right? What do I have to lose? I had nothing to lose at that point.
yeah.
I wasn't going anywhere with my coaching business. I was like, F it. let's go
Let's
stride
do
the
it.
whip, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. Hopped on it, started doing, got the VA on board because you gave me a checklist. I love checklists. I do so good with checklists. Just point me in the direction, then I go. And I was like, okay. And I remember I messaged you. It was like a month into the program. I'm like, hey man, I'm ready to launch. Let's go. Because you want to get my offer down first, that system first, before we get the VA and start
Yep.
getting those clients and leads. Because you want to make sure that you were good, not playing catch up
Hmm.
if you didn't have your offer solidified, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, okay. And then you even said for my lower ticket, like raise your prices, dude. Raise your prices. Cause I was charging 250, $300 a
Hmm.
month. And you're like, you should go up a little bit. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Sweet.
And yeah, first week, EVA booked. I was booked for like 4 days straight, bro, of
That's
calls. It was
awesome.
wild. It was wild. Just out the gate, just bam, like, holy crap. Wow. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay. And you teach us sales and scripts and objection handling, all that stuff. And I landed two clients within the first couple of weeks, two
Yeah.
4K paid in full offers, um,
Amazing.
which was wild. Yeah. And
Yeah.
for me, like with zero sales experience, right? Like I remember we went over one of my sales calls and you're kind of like, we got a lot to work on here, man.
Yeah. But I tell you what, it still got it done, man. I mean, that offer was
Yeah.
screaming hot, you know? And so I think it is a
Yeah.
massive jump going from 250 a month programs to 4K juicy big boy offer. Crazy. So I
Hmm.
mean, you just nailed it, knocked it out of the park. And of course now like your low ticket is 400 a month, right? So you've got the big
Yeah.
4K and then a downsell of 10%. A lot of people are either taking one of the two. And I think that's why,
Yeah.
you know, first month of launch with the VA, 19,300 cash collected. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. How did that moment feel, right? Having been, you know, working full time, husband, you know, managing all the kids and the business as well, doing almost 20K cash collected. What was that like?
It was wild. Like the set moment was after you prompted me and you just wanted like a check-in, like, hey, how was your month? What was your cash collected? I was like, yeah, I should check that. Okay. So I go on Stripe and I check it and I was like, adding it up and I was like, I'm almost at 20 grand. This can't be right. Are you,
Yeah. Hang on a
oh my
second.
God. And I turned to my wife, yeah, and I was like, I almost made 20 grand this month. She's like, stop. And I was like, yeah. And we just kind of like sat there like you find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and you're like,
Yeah.
what do we do with
Sweet.
this? What do we do? Yeah. Because we've never had a payday that big in a month. Like even with my
Yeah.
full-time job, obviously I'm a firefighter, I don't make that much. And so we're like, what do we do? I don't know. We'll pay some things off. We'll put a little here, pay some things off, reinvest into the business, and then bought a $200 bottle of tequila. So it was great.
Boom. Great way to celebrate. Love it.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier, and you mentioned like your wife. I think she's got a similar growth mindset to you. Like you guys just seem to push each other so well. And you said her response to that was like, "That's amazing. What's next?"
Yeah. Yeah, she did. She did. She was like, okay. I mean, because we're both like, what now? Like, because you can, everything's like a choice, right? You can stay where you're at. You can be like 20K a month. That's good for me. I can live comfortably. More power to you. More power to you,
Mm,
however much you want to make, right? I'm not built that way. And she's not built that way. We're like, all right, what's
that's
next?
awesome.
What's next, March? She's like, let's
Yeah,
do 30K. Let's do 40. What's preventing you? I was like, all right, let's put in the work. Let's get to work. That's what we got to
that's
do,
it.
you
That's
know?
it.
Because the
And
inputs
the
equal the
thing, yeah,
outputs. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it, right?
yeah, that's exactly right. And the thing that I love about you, even on our first call, when you knew it was a great fit, you just signed up straight away, paid in full, no questions asked, bang, let's get it done, let's grow, let's do this thing. And I think it's a testament to, I guess, when you know that you have a problem you need to solve, you don't delay it anymore. You just jump in, right? Money loves speed. And even when you hit your 20K, I've had plenty of clients. One of our clients we scaled to 34K a month within just 3 months. And it was amazing. And you'd think being in that spot, right, having a growth mindset, you're like, right, let's do 50K next. And then they just stop. They get complacent. But you, when you hit that month, you know, you decided as well, all right, let's take it to the next level. Let's join Mastermind program. And Mastermind is where we really dive heavy into ads. We build out much more of your team on the back end of things as well, grow the brand extensively to get you to not only consistent 20K, but 30K, 40K, 50K. And when I presented that to you, you were just like, yep, let's do it. No need to sell me on it. Let's just do it. Let's go all in. And that's just what I love about your mindset. And I think a testament to why you've been able to grow so fast is because you've got a do or die mindset. It's like we were stuck before doing the same thing. We're going to change things up, grow, and not waste any time. And I think that's, again, why you grew massively. So I'm curious, from your point of view, if you were to give any advice to coaches that are on the fence, that are either considering this program, they're not too sure, or maybe they've looked at other systems before, but they're just skeptical, right? What would your advice be to people like that?
Well, first thing, my first piece of advice would be the proof is in the pudding, right? So, um, was I a little skeptical at first? Yeah, maybe, but when you're skeptical, it's not necessarily the program. It's also you need to be you're skeptical of yourself and your belief, right? You obviously got into coaching for a reason because you believe in yourself and you believe in your offer. So I would say let Corvin help you refine that offer, dial it down, get the high ticket, and then learn everything else that there is in the program. Because there's so much to learn about coaching. There's so much to learn, and it's all in there, right? Like I said earlier, when I first got in, it was like, holy value, like this is a lot of value. And for me, like I did it. Like I'm at a point now, and especially if you're watching this and you have a W-2 and you eventually want to transition out of it, kind of like me, into coaching full time, this is the first step because you're going to offload stuff from your plate because you're already working and you already have little time. So free up the time to put into things that move the needle for your business, right? Put
Mm,
things on autopilot that you can. Having the appointment setter is a great autopilot. Your 4K offer, when you learn your sales, autopilot, easy. You see your schedule. Here's my schedule for the day. Get on some calls, 4K offer or high ticket offer, excuse me, and then start moving forward with that.
amazing.
So, this has been unlike any other like program I've been a part of. It's very organized, detailed, a lot of depth. Um, so yeah,
Amazing. Thank you, brother. Well,
yeah.
that's that's Matt's best advice for you guys if you are on the fence and you want to grow, but either you're stuck in a full time job or you just don't know how to systemize, don't know how to turn your followers to dollars. Then followers to dollars, yeah. Then Matt's story, I hope, is inspiring to you. If Matt can do it despite having so much on his plate, then you absolutely can as well. And so there's really two choices for you here: either after hearing Matt's story, and if it has inspired you, but you want to learn a little bit more about what kind of systems we have, my whole YouTube channel has pretty much everything you need to know about what we do, complete for free. If you want to learn about VAs, how we hire and train appointment setters to send hundreds of messages per day to your followers, build relationship, and not come across in a very salesy, scammy way, and book out your calendar, make your boatload of money on autopilot. If you want to learn about that, go to the YouTube. If you want to learn about how we build high ticket offers up to 5K for 6 months, it's all on my YouTube. If you want to learn more, just go browse, right? Binge all the content. But if you're listening to this and you're tired of waiting around, you're tired of playing it slow, you just want to take the next step, or at least learn a little bit more, chat to me one-on-one, then book the first link in the description. Go ahead, book a one-on-one call with me, and we can absolutely dive into what's going on in your business, where do you want to grow, and if we are a good fit for each other. Those are pretty much the two options that you guys have got, but hopefully Matt's story has inspired you guys to at least take some kind of action. So with that said, Matt, thank you so much for your time. You've been an absolute blessing, not only to me here on this call, but in our program as well. You're such a great asset to the boys in the community, and I can't wait to help you guys scale 30, 40, 50K a month.